It is, Brother Shalom. Welcome back to another episode. You know, man, in today's video, man, I want to talk about why the majority of black women that are single have been pretty much shunned by black men, pretty much outcasted, and black men that desire marriage are perfectly fine with remaining single and not giving the majority of black women a chance. Let's talk about it.
Hear about the black man. I don't want to hear a thing about what black men are doing when they come from underdeveloped black women who are demons, who are colonized, and who are whitewashed. Literally. I will literally get up here and I'm talking about what God has told us to do. I'm talking about what God has told us to do. Okay. And there will always be an immature, uneducated, ungodly black woman that makes the conversation about herself and she has 27 people liking it. I'm talking about God and you want to come tell me I'd rather see her not have children. Who the are you? I'm talking about God and you're talking about yourself, so you think that you're bigger than God. That is why black women are having the issues that y'all are having. That is why your children are going through what they're going through. That is why the black man is going through what they're going through, because the women who are supposed to be under God is leading y'all down a dark motherfucking path. Literally. You're disrespectful and talking about God and y'all made the conversation about you. You didn't create the heavens and the earth. Black women are so self-centered. Y'all are mentally disturbed, and I mean in the most disrespectful way. Y'all are the issue in the black community. Who do y'all think that y'all are? Who do black women think that y'all are? I don't understand the logic. I don't understand. I don't. I've never seen so many black women walk around the planet so entitled and as if you're God, but you can't even make your children behave. You can't even get your black men to do what is needed for the community. Why? Because you are immature under yourself. Literally. I'm so irritated. The way that black women are disrespectful, then y'all wonder why God allows you to be disrespected. Oh my God, why are women being abused? Because you abuse the system, because you're manipulative, because you're literally conniving. Why would God protect women when you don't protect God? When you don't speak for God, you don't walk for God. You act like you're God yourself when you're not. Let's not forget, you have to be born to this. Let's not forget that. Black women are so self-centered. She pissed me off. She really did. Every time you talk to a black woman, oh, me. It's all about me. And you see why the kids are failing. Y'all see why y'all are not getting married. Y'all see why y'all not being chose. Nigga, God told you to be a pick-me. And y'all say, well, I'm not a pick-me. That is why God is allowing you to suffer. Oh my God, black women are the least protected. Look at your behavior. How can I protect you when you want to walk unprotected?
All praise to the Most High Yah Shalom. Thank you for tuning in to another Righteous Ruach Spirit-filled episode. Today I'm back at it in them trenches handling that kingdom business. You know, brothers, the Most High Yah talks about the daughters of Zion being haughty and high-minded. And brothers that are walking in truth and have understanding know that this is talking about a melanated type woman, a melanated group of women. And when you read about what the Most High Yah says is going to happen to haughty and high-minded women like the daughters of Zion, man, this is why majority of black women that are single are in the boat that they are in. You know, man, we've got black women that are on the internet, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook. And I'll show you the footage. This way, you know, I'm bringing receipts. Where are all the good men at? We just want good men. How come men ain't coming to the brunches?
So I went to a singles event, and when I got there, it was literally 90% women. And I was like, I'm gonna go now.
Because when I walked in, it was packed. And what do you think I saw? What do you think I saw?
What did you see?
Exactly what I thought I was going to see.
What?
80 women sitting alone. No men in sight. None.
I saw so many black women try to solve a problem in dating by starting to host events in person, trying to create third spaces to facilitate dating like offline. And you know what would happen every single time? The men were not signing up. They would be selling tickets to speed dating, and they would always end up with men's tickets on sale. Always, because they weren't buying any. Just the other day, a big account that I follow for black creatives did like this cute Cupid thing where they were like, hey, send us a profile about yourself and we would love to post it and like play matchmaker. Sounds like a cute idea, right? Not one single man sent their profile in. And mind you, this is an account that has well over 100,000 followers. It's just time to stop. It's time to stop. They have made it very loud and clear that they do not
singles event, and here's why I think we're doomed to be single for the rest of our lives. That was a bit dramatic, but let me tell my story. So I went to singles night at Eden Church's Charlotte campus. Now, I don't go to that church, but I started following Pastor Stephen since he was a guest pastor at my church earlier this month. And when I found out that he was writing a book on dating and relationships, I was interested because, listen, your girl could use some divine intervention in that area. But I'll be honest, I didn't want to go at first. I figured it's a Christian singles event. There's going to be 11 women there and like 2 men. Plus, they were advertising it as a conversation that you wouldn't expect to have at church. And I thought, I've heard enough of those modern dating and relationship podcasts. I don't need to hear any more, especially not with a biblical spin. Instead of having meaningful conversations about finding and building Christ-centered relationships,
we just left the event. So I think we were just saying that we think that we've actually hit rock bottom. So that's true. We think we've actually hit rock bottom, and I think we were either punked, catfished, or like a sick joke.
And, you know, at its core, man, there are some fundamental problems why black men that desire marriage and are out here actively seeking a wife will look at majority of black women in their conduct, in their environment, in their behavior and say, you know what, man, that's a hard pass. That's a hard pass. Let alone, like, you got to understand, man, traditionally, historically, black men have been able to find a wife like 50 years ago, 20 years ago. You know, man, a black man had a better chance at finding a virtuous wife. But these days, man, you've got men that are like, you know what, man, I'm gonna have to get that passport. I'm gonna have to go look elsewhere if I want a melanated woman. But Western culture has pretty much destroyed, you know, the ability to have a virtuous, high-functioning black woman, because the majority of black women, one of their biggest, you know, points of destruction is, man, they subscribe to black culture. And today, man, I'm going to break down several talking points, probably about 10 or 12 talking points, you know, because I get men across all nationalities, across all races, reaching out, man. And I'm talking about hardworking brothers, you know, that, you know, are searching for a wife, you know, very high earning men that are searching for a wife. And reality is, man, the higher earning men are having a harder time because, man, they stand to have to deal with more manipulation, more trickery of a woman trying to get in position of a wife, but playing games once they get in that position. So, man, I see the whole gamut of men that are, you know, reaching out and saying, man, how did you as a black man find a wife? You know, what kind of strategy did you have? And I tell you, brothers, man, whatever the culture is teaching you, if that's on the left side, brother, I went right. And I'll talk about this, man. You know, the reality is, for black men that are searching for a wife, man, I want you to think about, if you're in a big population city, you know, Atlanta, Dallas, Houston, you know, you name it, and you go to their mall, man, if their mall has a Books A Million or a Barnes and Noble, man, I want you to go in there and I want you to look at how many of our women do you see in there trying to read, trying to educate, trying to learn something? Like, Barnes and Noble, Books A Million is a peaceful place. And the reason why you don't see a majority of our women in places like that is because you can't be loud, obnoxious, and unruly because it's against what those places represent. But I'll tell you, man, you've got a better chance. Like, if you were to leave, like, don't go, leave the clubs, leave the parties, leave the bars, leave the brunches, leave the singles events. Brothers, you've got a better chance of going to a Books A Million or Barnes and Noble, and if you see a black woman in there sitting down reading a book, you've got a better chance to elevate that woman as a wife than you do majority of these other women. I don't give a dang. Like, if that black woman in Barnes and Nobles that's reading, don't have a degree, is not successful, don't own a business, brothers, you've got a better chance of her being a virtuous wife than you do with majority of these other black women. And I'll break down some of the key points, but just want to show you in context what you're really up against in searching for a wife as a black man. And if you're following what the culture is telling you to look for in a black woman, you're going to freaking fail. You're going to flip and fail. That's why I told you, if the culture's saying go left, brother, I go right. And that's why I've prospered. I'm going towards what the Most High Yah has outlined we should be looking for. Flip what these women, talk about is value. And this is coming from, I'm a black man that's married to a black woman. I'm a black man that's married to a black woman. Man, I'm raising 2 black daughters. And you know what? Man, my oldest daughter, man, I pour into her so much so she has understanding. And, I enforce walking in truth. So the word says, train up a child in the way that they should go. So if my daughter chooses to go against her upbringing, the teaching, and she gets out there in the world and chooses to follow the culture, man, I'd be the first man, her father, that tells her she deserves to struggle. She deserves to be a dud, to be unwanted, because no good man is going to desire an unvirtuous or unrighteous woman inside of marriage. Okay. Why black women are least desired for marriage. Man, this one's gonna hit home. Lazy domestically inside relationships. Now, if you put them in a struggle environment, if you put them in the workplace, working a job, working to make somebody else rich, man, they don't mind clocking in 40, 50 hours, to go work for somebody else up under somebody else's leadership. I'm talking about domestically lazy. Like, as a man, if you were to say, can you clean up? Can you straighten up? Like, I'm handling my lane. I'm handling my function, but can you clean and can you straighten up? Oh, you think I'm some kind of slave? You just want me in here cooking, cleaning, and flat-foot and pregnant. Lazy domestically in relationships.
What is it about men that they want women to be in labor for them? Why do they want us to be laborers? And the reason why I'm asking this, as a woman that's single in her 40s, and let me preface this by saying I've been on dates. I've met some wonderful guys. All of them, they make great money. Gentlemen have good careers, and things happen that our relationship don't go further. Like, they're not the one for me. But one of the things that I do notice, all the men, they want to know, they want you cooking and they want you cleaning. And the cooking and the cleaning has to come from you. And my question is, why do I have to be over a stove for 2 hours?
Man, that is that's a, like, when you are courting or entertaining a woman and her place is constantly clean, it don't matter. She can be in a studio. But when it's clean, like, bro, that's a good thing. Like, I talk about men, man, selecting the women that have domestic skills and take pleasure in domestic skills. Why do we have all these videos of black women refusing to cook for their men? You got a man paying the bills, but you didn't made a whole TikTok account about what you not gonna do for a man. I'm not finna be washing his dirty drawers. I'm not about to be cleaning all of this. But guess what? On your own and in your struggle, you would do it for you and your bastard children. Lazy domestically in relationships. Man, number 2, immodest inside of relationships. Man, you take a woman the internet is full of black women that are appearing to be modest while no man has taken possession of them. You know, trying to make themselves desirable. But you've got married men that have taken some of these women, and the minute they get inside of a relationship, they want to start advertising for all men. It's like they want you, like you've already selected her as a wife, but they want you in competition with other men that haven't selected them. So immodesty inside of relationships. You got to understand how many married men have to deal with their woman wanting to go out there butt naked, claiming to grow up in the church, claiming to have a relationship with the Most High. But it's like, man, if that's how you carry yourself in marriage, man, what's really going on inside of you spiritually? You looked at the woman who calls herself Dr. Cheyenne Bryan and see the kind of nonsense she got caught up in and exposed is not having these doggone degrees, pretty much doggone pandering to the community. You look at Sierra coming out with her husband butt naked. Even if, like, okay, if you as a black woman had any wisdom and you had a foolish husband that was ignorant enough to say, man, I think you should go outside butt naked, the wisdom in you should be like, you know what? I'm not doing that. I'm going to put something on to represent, man, I am a child of the Most High. But nope, men, you know, that's one of the biggest red flags, man. If you got a woman who is constantly dressing like she wants to be a Proverbs 5 or Proverbs 7, you know, in the attire of a harlot, bro, you can't like men, you're not going to go to Black Bike Week. You're not going to go to like a black festival. You're not going to go to the places where you got a group of single black women flocking and find a modest woman. Man, they'll shame her. Who is she? She's some kind of nun or something? They'll shame her. You know, number 3, spiteful and vindictive. Spiteful and vindictive, wanting to get that lick back. You got to understand, man, they might have went out and chose a dud as a man. Rather than choosing the guy that's got his stuff together, man, black men that are searching for a wife have to deal with spiteful and vindictive women. Meaning, at some point, man, she went out and chose a dude that didn't have nothing going for herself. And because he, being a dud, you know, was out in them streets, didn't do right by her, but she chose him, man, she's going to take it out on every man that she comes encounters with and every man that she comes across. Every man that she comes across, she's going to take it out on you. So she's trying to get her lick back for what that dud of a man did to her. Not recognizing what you stand for, how good you are, what character you have, the leadership that you have. Like when you meet a woman and she's playing games off the rip, man, this is 9 times out of 10 what you're dealing with. Okay. A man that's a good leader, covering his woman spiritually, he has to give her guidance. He has to give her instructions. He has to give her commandments. He has to give her orders. You know, he has to tell her what to do at times. And you know what? Man, a vindictive and spiteful woman that doesn't get her way, man, she's gonna be petty. And you know what? Man, men have to deal with this. So black men have said, you know what, man, I'm good. Bro, I'm good on all of that nonsense. I'm good on all of that nonsense. I'm going to spend my money on me and what I want to do. Man, number 4, out of order. Man, we see on the internet, man, of how many of these single black women, and then some of them that are married, man, are trying to dominate a man. And I'll tell you, no man worth his weight in gold, no set apart man, no good man, no man of the Most High Yah is going to be ruled over by a woman. I'll tell you that straight up. But you've got women out here that can't get themselves out of a bowl of Jell-O. You can't come up with a solution to get out of your own doggone struggle. But yet when a man comes up and is generating solutions for the betterment of the household, the betterment of the family, the betterment of the marriage, the betterment of the relationship, you won't even let him have control over implementing that solution. You want to control every damn thing while being out of control yourself. Out of line, out of order, out of pocket. And definitely doesn't submit to the order of the Most High Yah. The Most High Yah over Yahshua, Yahshua over man, man over woman, woman over children. You don't submit to that. You got too many single black women that acquiesce and capitulate to the will of their own doggone children. How do you let your children govern how you run your household, and then you want to dominate a man? Crazy. Number 5, religious. Religious is all get out. Religious is all get out. But unrighteous as hell. Wicked. You know, man, a lot of these single black women, man, they play like they got a relationship with the Most High. You know, they got that lip service worship that if you're an unstudied man, it's going to sound good. They have no problem attending church on Sunday, a day that ain't commanded. But when you look in the book of the Most High Yah's commandments and if you look according to the Proverbs 31 or a virtuous woman, these religious women don't fit the bill. A lot of these single black religious women don't fit the bill of a Proverbs 31. The book actually tells you to stay away from a lot of them because they got the spirit of Rahab being a harlot, wanting to lay on their backs and become dumpsters. You know, they got the spirit of Delilah wanting to dominate over a man. You know, they've got the spirit of Jezebel. Man, number 6. Man, men are perfectly fine with letting black single women struggle because the majority of black single women are focused on the things of the world rather than the will of the Most High. And that kind of ties into my last bullet. You got to understand, man, black culture, modern black culture, and what it represents is some of the most dysfunctional stuff out there. And guess what? The single black woman, you know, majority, greater than 50%, is going to push this agenda and make it even more dysfunctional. Make it even more. Okay, let me give you an example. Men, if a single black woman is around or hanging around a bunch of single black women herself, and you roll up being a good man, brother, like 95% of the time, you might as well expect hyena behavior. You might as well expect monkey behavior. And let me tell you why. Man, you might have, out of the group, you might have some of them that actually desire a good man, want to get married, want to be wives, but guess what they submit to? They submit to the culture and its foolishness rather than the opportunity at hand. So if all the women are roasting you as a man, oh, you a nerd, you a lame, ain't nobody getting with you, get out of here, laughing all in your face, man, they will all pretty much subscribe to that. If it's 10 of them, bro, pretty much 9 out of 10 is gonna subscribe to hyena behavior. And you know what? All of them, unsingle, unmarried, are gonna go home and find bills in the mail. Gonna go home to something that needs fixing. Gonna go home to a cat, to a dog. Go home to sitting on the couch, eating popcorn and watching Netflix. They're gonna subscribe to that behavior. This is why men, like your chances of finding a wife while being with a group of single men is not good. It's the same thing, man. You don't roll up on a group of single black women expecting them to take you serious. Because 9 times out of 10, you got to understand, you're going to get more hatred than you will love. The woman that's most likely interested in you, she's going to play like she ain't interested, just so she don't get shamed by the other hyenas. Hyena behavior. Man, they're focused on the things of the world rather than the will of the Most High Yah. You know, man, when it comes to number 7, so many children out of wedlock. Man, this is why single black women lead the statistic in this area. And all of these children that are born out of wedlock pretty much feed into the statistic of dysfunctional children growing up into the adults. Man, it's crazy how, man, you've got a woman who don't have any children, who has reserved herself for marriage, don't have all these bodies on her, and she says, you know what, man, if I find me a good man, I'm happy. A good man according to the will of the Most High Yah, I'm happy. But the more children a woman has out of wedlock in our community, and the more baby daddies that she has, the more delusional she's gonna be. The more unrealistic her expectations. You got to think, man, you got these women with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and they online telling their business. I got 5 children, but I'm still a queen. How are you a queen without a king that's got a kingdom? Who gave you this title? Absolute foolishness. But, man, they will be sitting up there talking about, man, I want a man that's 6'4", extremely tall, you know, with a nice body that works out every day, treats me like the queen that I am, you know, makes $1 million a year. And you know what? The men that they're describing ain't looking for Keisha with the 5 kids. He's not waking up saying, man, God, man, I pray that you send me Keisha with the 5 kids and her doggone baggage, her baggage of a life. Crazy. Man, number 8, lack of trust. You know, man, oftentimes when you look at the majority of single black women, man, their lack of trust towards you as a man really has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them projecting their lack of trust on self. You got to think, a lot of these women can't even trust themselves to do right. They can't even trust themselves to stop having sex outside of marriage. And this is why year after year, you come back and look at their lives, bro, they're like, okay, black men, man, you look at some of the black women you graduated high school with. Man, fast forward 5 years after graduation and look at how many of them already had children out of wedlock. Fast forward that times 10 years. Look at how many more additional children they've had out of wedlock. Brothers, man, them not trusting you and you being a good man coming into their life and they wanting you to climb this mountain to try to prove you're worthy of their trust to them is ultimately rooted in, man, they can't even trust their own damn decisions. They can't even trust their own, like, you got to think why these women want men with an exorbitant amount of money, because they're struggling financially, because they can't trust themselves with money. You got to think about how many of these women get child support for their children, and rather than being prudent with the money, rather than saying, you know what, man, let me spend some of this money on what the children actually needs when there is a need, think about how many of them take that money and go get their nails done, their hair done, go on vacations, doggone buying babies. You buying, bro, I think buying a baby that can't even walk Jordan shoes is low functional, stupid behavior. But look at our community. Man, they'll go buy and order this crap online. And this is why they want you to have an exorbitant amount of money so they can blow your money. They can blow your money. They don't even trust their own choices. Man, your baby then had like, you're like, you're not married. You're a single black woman, but you'll have your baby and $100 worth of clothes, $200 worth of clothes. You buying a 5-year-old $80, $100 jeans. But guess what? When that little boy graduates high school and is like, man, I want to go to college. Man, mama, out of all the money she done blown and gave to these brands, don't even have nothing for her own brand, which are her children, the fruit of the womb. Ain't got 2 pennies to rub together. And men, this is what they want you to sign up for. This is what they want you to like, okay, how many of these women got, are on site or some type of government assistance? Meaning you get daycare assistance, you get food assistance, you get some type of government assistance, but yet there's something in your mind to where you want to buy designer bags. Bro, the government should cut off your doggone assistance if you out buying designer bags and you're on their assistance. That's low functional behavior. But this is what black men have to deal with and try to navigate around when dealing with single black women. Man, I got so many brothers on this channel that reach out and they're like, man, I'm looking for a wife, but it is absolutely hard. I'm having a hard time. That's why I told you, brothers, man, let me give you another gem. Man, you want to find a woman that's possibly going to have more virtue, go to Hobby Lobby. Go to Hobby Lobby. Man, these stores generally aren't flocked by hyenas and birds. You're not going to see a whole bunch. You're probably not going to see any bird. Only time you're going to see birds and hyenas and a Books A Million is to walk through the outside entrance to get to the inside of the mall. Outside of that, man, you ain't going to see no bird or no hyena or no haughty, high-minded daughter of Zion in Barnes and Nobles and Books A Million in their read. Man, another one is a coffee shop. Not Starbucks, not one of these, high-end coffee shops. No, a mom and pop coffee shop. A woman that sits down in there, like you see a woman reading or sitting there minding her own business, having a cup of coffee. Brother, you got to look for the women that are at peace. Like you can't pick from a lot of our women if their mentality is if they're constantly in fight or flight mode. Man, you're signing up for straight chaos. But this is the reality of why the majority of black women that are single will remain unmarried. Man, I'm constantly telling my wife when she's asking me, man, why are her friends doing some of the stuff that they do? And I have to tell her straight up, it's low functioning hyena behavior. She probably don't like to hear it, but it's the truth. And I said, it's a reason why they're always calling you, because you're the one picking up, trying to constantly give them wisdom that they don't want. And the minute my wife start telling them about themselves, all of a sudden they got to go. Man, let me tell you something. Man, some cultures, some races of women have where you'll have a single woman who the majority of her friends are married. And the married women are trying to sharpen the sword of the single woman and tell her what she needs to do in order to get selected. Okay? But in our community, man, you might have one black married woman who's got her stuff together, halfway decent, and got a whole bunch of single friends that are trying to pull her back to the streets. That's the reality of what you got to deal with. They want her to, come on, let's go to this show. Come on, let's go to the Chris Brown. Come on, let's go to the Jacquees concert. Come on, let's go to this. Come on, let's do it. Everything is outside in the streets. Come on, they got a festival, and you got to think the single black woman, 9 times out of 10, they looking for the thugs. Look at the show Pop the Balloon. Look at the show Pop the Balloon. Bro, it's so much hyena, monkey behavior. Man, you might get out of all the black women on there, since that show has aired, man, there might have been 10, at most 15 black women out of over hundreds that have actually stood by righteousness and what they're looking for from a man. But a lot of them get on there bumping them gums. Oh God, I want a Christian man. And then what happens? Vanity sets in. Oh, I want him to be this, and he got to have a big old digging stick. And, I don't like his shoes, the color of his shoes, and I don't like this. Craziness. And you got to wonder why majority of them come on there and leave unmarried, leave single, leave with nobody wanting to take them on a date. Men are hard passing because guess what? This is the reality of what we got to deal with. And the book does say in the last days, difficult times shall come. You got to think, man, in the times of Yahshua, in the times of the apostles, man, the Most High Yah, man, said, who can find a virtuous woman? Who can find her price is more than rubies and pearls. So that lets you know in these last days, brother, it's going to be a difficult journey. It's not going to be easy by any means. But, man, you find the woman in peace in her natural environment, brother, then you might be getting somewhere. Look in all of the places where you're least likely to see the majority of black women hang out, and you've got a dang good chance of being able to work with something. You got to think, man, you've got like the gym. Man. You got to think, man, the black woman loves competition, but she doesn't love competition towards excelling towards righteousness. No, she wants to be in the gym, with all the men, all the wolves drooling over her, and the wolves ain't really trying to commit to these women. But she'll go in there, like, she won't take a good man serious if you present an offer, because she wants to be validated and wants the attention from the wolves. And this is why they get the kind of men that they get. This is why the good men are standing back, and it has become a spectator sport in watching them struggle and watching them fail. Man, I tell my wife all the time, she's like, man, I don't know why my friend girl is going through this with these men. And I tell her, man, that's what she deserves. She deserves to struggle. She deserves to get a dud, because she's a dud herself. I kick it like, if y'all could hear some of these conversations, you'd be like, oh man, that's crazy. But I kick it raw, I kick it real, and I kick it gun barrel straight. Man, once again, this is the Set Apart Man, kicking that thing gun barrel straight. Until next time, stay set apart, stay disciplined, stay in the word of the Most High Yahweh.